Here it comes. Hello. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live on a Wednesday night. I'm your host, Jake Johnson. Tonight's a chill stream. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Welcome. Come on in. Friends, countrymen, internetonians, lend me your ear. I'm late for a date, but I'm here. I made it on time, relatively. How's everybody? Fab Daddy, you're first in chat. You get the gold star tonight. It's been a while since you got one of those, ain't it? Amanda says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Hump day. Camel. Happy hump day. Camel. And hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Scratchy, but here. And see, I ate a lot of tacos when I got home from work. 6 of them. And I'm like struggling to move. It's like you ever seen a bowling pin that almost gets knocked over but don't quite, and it just kind of teeters there on the edge for a second and then wallers back over to the other side, and that's how I feel. Fab Daddy says, you waiting for me? No. I said if I were any later, I'd be waiting on you. It's a double cross, you know, I'm late, so you're waiting on me. But if I'm even later, I'd be waiting on you because you're waiting on me, and then I'm waiting on you. See how that works? I know that you know that I know that you know. It's one of those things. Anyway, how you doing, Fab Daddy? Good to see you. Amanda says hi, and here's your gold star. Patty says hello. Hey, Patty, how are you, sweetie? Amanda says hi. Fab and Patty. You having a good day today, Patty? Peppermint Patty? Patty Longstockings? Something. Fab Daddy says Patty earns the gold star. She does. But you were technically here first, so I don't make the rules, buddy. I just live by them. Oh. Amanda says, oh, yeah, can you dig it? Very quickly. And Amanda says, Patty gets all kinds of gold stars. And Patty says, welcome. Fab Daddy says, taco, yum. Yes, it was delicious. They were very, very lovely tacos, but a lot of them. And I'm very full still. That was at like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, somewhere in that area. And I'm still full. Patty says, hello, Miss Amanda. And Amanda says, LOL, not my fault. You ate so many tacos. It is your fault. You put that many tacos on my plate. Bill Bennett, what's up, buddy? He says, hello, guys. Hey, Bill, nice to see you. Amanda says hi. Aaron, what's up, buddy? He says, I have that same shirt. Cool. I like this shirt. It's nice and silky. It accentuates my chesticles. Amanda says, hello, Aaron. And Fab Daddy says, I did some spring cleaning today. Did you? Did you find anything you forgot about? Patty says, I'm great, Jake. Blessed, and thank you for the gold star. You get all of them, baby. You earn them. They're yours. Amanda says, well, you like tacos, and 4 isn't enough for you. There's a fine line between 4 tacos and 6 tacos. I agree. But it's a very fine line. Kevin Cox, what's up, brother? He says, hey, Jaco. Hey, Kevo. Good to see you, my friend. Aaron says, chesticles, but does your chest tickle? No. You can't see it on camera, but I have one. It doesn't do it justice. You have to see it in person. I'm actually quite built, but very short, so it doesn't come across as built. It comes across as SpongeBob. I don't know. Anyway, Aaron says, hey, Amanda. And Amanda says, hi, it's me. Did It's Me come in? I didn't even see him. It's Me says, what's the topic of today? Whatever you want it to be, it's me. I'm late as usual, so I didn't have time to think of one. So if you got one on top of your head, we'll go with that one. Fab Daddy says, it amazes me how quickly dust bunnies grow. You know that's human skin, right? They're not dust bunnies. That's dead people all over your house. 100% dead people. Some of it's you. And you're dead. Did you know that? Ooh. Kevin says, hey, Amanda O. And Amanda says, hi, Kevin. It's Me says, hi, Amanda. And Amanda says, Kevin Cox, what is up? Oh, Kevin Cox says, what is up, Amanda HBJ? And Fab Daddy O. Well, right now, we're up. And Fab Daddy says, the sky. And Amanda says, yes, it tickles my nose when I lay on it. That's because I have peach fuzz. Don't make fun of my peach fuzz. You'd think you get one look at this filthy mustache that I'm sporting, and you'd think I'd be Mr. Gorilla. Not so. From the neck to the waist, I'm bald as a cucumber. Don't know why. It's the Native American in me, I guess. I don't even have hair under my arms. Sad. Aaron says, I see what you putting down, Jake. Every now and then I throw the old forearm up there. You can see it a little bit. But most people don't ever pay attention to that sort of thing. Aaron says, do spiders pee? Yes. Yes, they do. The more appropriate question is when a spider sees a spider, does it freak out and almost break its legs? Or does it feel that way when it sees us? Amanda says, oh, yes, Fab. We live around a bunch of farmers, and the dust is crazy. Yeah, my house is like in the path of a dust storm because there's fields in every direction. And so when they plow, the dust just kind of comes this way, and there's nothing that can stop it. It comes right in the house. And, it's just everywhere. It's probably why I'm hoarse all the time. It's Me says the weather is in the 80s, the high 80s and low 60s tonight. That's nice. It's been kind of hot here today. I don't know what temperature it was, but it was kind of warm. It was sweaty weather. Worked up a good sweat working, and I work in an air-conditioned building, so it's kind of warm. Amanda says, LOL, probably, Aaron. Probably, they do pee. All critters that have function, all critters that drink pee. But I'm more curious about whether they freak out when they see us, because I freak out when I see them. What is a spider to a spider? You know that a mouse is a spider to an elephant. What's a spider to a spider? Fab Daddy says, I had a McFurry. Nope. My furry dust bunnies. Yes, hair, skin, cobwebs, and cornflakes or a cornflake or two. Yeah. That's what dust is. It's dead bodies mostly. People don't like to think about that, but if you read the Bible and you believe it, and I do, it says you go back to the dust from which you're made, right? Well, that's true. If you've ever dug up a grave, I'm not saying how I know this, but if you've ever dug up a grave, you'll notice a very interesting phenomena in the casket. It is dust, mostly. No bones. Dust. Bones for a little while, but then dust. And a couple of teeth. And they stay there for the longest. I don't know why. But the dust in the air, 100% dead bodies. And you're breathing it in and getting it on your tongue. and everything else. Just so you know. Kevin says, not at Gators, I'm at Champs, eating mahi and vegetables and spaghetti. Oh, yeah. That's a strange combination. Vegetables with spaghetti and mahi. Interesting. Aaron says, I had one of the kids ask me where I work, LOL. Cool. What'd you tell him? It's me says, I'm going bald, yet my hair grows out my ears and nose, LOL. That is your DNA trying to help you grow hair, but not knowing where to apply it. You have dumb DNA. It thinks this is the top of your head. I know, mine does too. I'm not going bald though, but I do have hair. I have to shave my nose. I shave my nose, my ears, and between my eyebrows, along with the rest of my face. I often wonder if I just let it go, would I be one of those wolf men kind of guys, you know, just have hair all over my face? Vera Lynn says, hello. Hey, Vera. How you doing, sweetie? Hope you're doing well out there. Amanda says, hi. Aaron says, I wonder if they cleaned all the loose change in the couches in the world, how much it would add up to. Millions. That's a good question. You could just go to all the wishing wells and you would bank big bucks. I would like to have just the money that I have spent on music equipment over my life, just in a pile in the middle of the floor. I bet it would be impressive. I'm probably a millionaire if that's the case. It don't seem like it as you go. I'm 40 years of buying music equipment, you know. It goes. That is a good question, though. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron, or under the back seat of cars, right? Vera says, ooh, Jake, why would you say that about dead bodies and dust? Shaking my head, because it's true. And that's what I do. I deliver the truth. I know it sucks, but it is true. And there's other things, too, that are just as creepy in everyday life. I'll give you one. In your eyeballs and under your fingernails and in your stomach live microscopic worms. And they're there all your life. They're there right now. If there's somebody out there chewing on their fingernail, just know that you're eating worms right now. They're just tiny. But if you saw them under a microscope, you'd have a difference of opinion. You'd be like, alien. They're kind of terrifying. You ever seen a dust mite under a microscope? Creepy. Aaron says, I'm going to make a business doing that and call it couch shaking. I don't know if it's a sustainable business, but I would follow you around with a camera. For sure. If nothing else, just to watch people's reaction when you knock on the door to ask them if you could shake their couch out. I would pay dollar bills to see that. That might be your business right there. Not the couch shaking, but having people pay to watch you do it. Amanda says, it's true, Rachel. It is. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron, right? And Vera says, I could have lived my whole life not knowing that one, but thanks. You're welcome. And now you can live with it. I have to live with all that stuff. It's rattling around here all the time. Now you can live with it. Aaron says, hi, Rachel. And Amanda says, LOL. Well, when you know, you know. Fab Daddy says, Vera Lynn, are you in a good mood? She sounds like she's in a good mood. Amanda says, well, we'd be rich, Jake. Music, money, wow. I'd hate to think. I know, right? I would definitely like to see some of that money again, because I have spent enough money to, I'm pretty sure I could have, I probably could have hosted 2 Garth Brooks concerts in my lifetime. Aaron says, good to see you back, Vera. Right on. It's Me says, well, a lot of conspiracies over the passing of the Pope. I've heard that. Yeah. A lot of people wanting to connect it to prophecies and things like that. I don't know how much stock I put in all that stuff, but I do believe in prophecies. I just don't know if the Catholics have it right. I'd have to read the prophecy. In my mind, if it ain't in the Bible, it ain't a prophecy. But those guys wrote other books too, you know. Just the ones that got recorded in the Bible pertain to the stuff that was about the Bible. But all the people that wrote parts of the Bible wrote other things, and there's stuff out there, you know. Some of it's good and some of it's not so good. Some of the books that were candidates for being part of the Bible turned out to be phonies or forgeries. People that wrote stuff hoping that they could influence leaders, you know, claiming that, say, Thomas wrote this gospel, you know, or the hidden gospel of Jesus, things like that. They're not real. And like I said, God inspired the word of God, so surely he can edit it. If he wants it to be in there, he can figure out a way to get it in there. But yeah, the whole thing about the Pope. But they said that about Pope John Paul, too. There was some stuff around Pope John Paul's death also. And it seemed to me that just came and went, and nothing ever became of it. But who knows? Fury says, no, I'm withdrawing hard, Fab. I'm telling you. Go to the smoke shop and buy that. Right there. It's about, you can get a little one for $21. Go get it tonight or in the morning. It's probably too late now. Time you get done with the podcast, they'll be closed. But go to the smoke shop in your town and buy that. It's a 7 and EN. It looks like Zen, but there's 2 7s and an EN. See it? Go buy that. Take a half of one. Break it in half. Take a half of one. Your withdrawals will go away immediately. And you will not be impaired. Okay? Trust old Jake. I know what I'm talking about. You can sustain on that indefinitely. You don't have to take those pills anymore. Go get that. It's $21. Take half of one or a quarter of one. See how it works for you. I'm a very high tolerance person, so I got to take a whole one. Half one won't do it for me, but a quarter of one might do it for you. If you get the 30 milligram ones, you can break them into 4s, and you can take one a day, and that'll help with your withdrawals. You don't have to suffer. Now, I figured out a way around it. This is an all-natural substance. It is not a drug. There's nothing in it that will hurt you. Go get it at your local smoke shop. Probably called Smoke Zone. It's probably somewhere near Food Lion or whatever grocery store you have. Kevin says, I have one eyebrow hair that grows like the bean from Jack and the Beanstalk, and it often needs the attention of a scissor. Yeah, all of my eyebrow hairs do. About 5 years ago, my eyebrows went the way of John Wayne and Ronald Reagan, where they decided, you know what? I'm just not going to lay down anymore. You do you, boo, but I'm standing up. I'm free. And then they just jumped up and they stand straight up like this. And I look like a Muppet with eyebrows like that, so I have to trim them. If you look real close, you can see the sharp edges of them where I have to cut them off. Those hairs grow straight up. Grooming is necessary, Kevin. It's an old man thing. I could either look like Moses with big eyebrows, or I could groom a little, and I try to stay buzzed. I don't shave a lot because I'm real sensitive, and I break out and look like I have herpes if I shave every day. But I keep the trimmer as low as it'll go, and I buzz every day or every other day. Well, let me rephrase that. I buzz often. I don't always keep up with it, but sometimes I let her grow. But you can look quite distinguished with a well-groomed facial hair. You can let it grow, but keep it trim, keep it off your neck, and you can look quite nice, even with high eyebrows. Some women like that kind of thing. They like to hang on them and pull while they're, exploring other territories. Fab Daddy says, I hope it gets better. Big hugs. Well, if you'll go to the smoke shop and get that Zen, you will feel better. Don't get the Zen that looks like a pack of chewing tobacco, because that's the wrong thing. That's nicotine. This is a kratom product. It's 7-hydroxymetrogenine. That's what you need right there. That'll get you through it. I give you my word on it. And it's safe. Aaron says, message retracted. Amanda says, LOL, Kevin, I keep on telling Jake about his eyebrows. I trim them. I just don't trim them enough for your taste. It's me says, hold on, my chat jumped. It's me says, number red, food dye, banned. Why take so long? Well, that's easy, because the Democrats are not interested in making you healthy. They're interested in making money. And the more crap they can shove into a simple product, the more money they can make. Everything that goes into a product, somebody's making money off of that thing, right? But if Fruit Loops only needs wheat and sugar, only the wheat and sugar people make money. But if you could put 15 other things in your Fruit Loops, there's all those people making money, the price goes up. Democrats like to make money. They don't like to be worried about your well-being. Now, RFK, he's made that's his red line in the sand. You shall not pass, He's going to heal America of its sicknesses, obesity and autism and all of the other things, type 3 diabetes, and all that stuff comes from the stuff we consume. You are what you eat. Have you ever heard that? You are what you eat. And if you're not strong enough to watch what you eat, watch what goes into your body, RFK will be for you. Now, he is an unusual Democrat. He's not like all the other Democrats. They've all gone woke and crazy. He's like Kennedy was back in the day. He's got his head on straight. That's a Democrat I could get behind. That's a Democrat I could pay attention to. The rest of them are insane. But there's a few of them. Bill Maher, as much as I hate what he thinks, you got to give him a hand. You got to respect him, because he calls what he sees like he sees it. I respect that. I don't agree with him, but I respect him. Take that, Fab Daddy. Aaron says, Jake got the idea, the content. That's right. EA says, Salam. Assalamu alaikum, EA. How are you? Aaron says, water or ants under a microscope, and they look horrible. Oh, yeah. Water looks kind of freaky, too. But water can be beautiful under a microscope also. There's a guy, you might be interested in this, Aaron. There's a guy, he's a Japanese guy, I think. He might be Chinese, but I think he's Japanese. And I can't remember his name, but I'll tell you what to look for. Look for water memory. And look for a Japanese guy or Chinese guy and watch his stuff. Water memory. It's a scientific study that he did. And he's got some pretty interesting hypotheses about water. Go check him out. I don't know if he's right, but there's something there. I don't know if he's got all the information. I don't know if he sees the whole picture, but there's definitely something to what he's discovered about water, and it's worth looking into. So go check that out if you're into that kind of thing. Most little things look terrifying under a microscope because they're not of this world, literally. They're of their world. We live in a big world. They live in a little world. Things are different down there. They have appendages and such. Amanda says, hi, EA. And we could buy a new house, LOL. Yeah, with stuff I've spent on music gear, yeah, we could buy 3 or 4 new houses. or more. We could probably buy a new house and a Porsche. But again, it don't look like that when you're buying it $20 or $100 at a time. I'd like to just have the money I spent on strings over a lifetime. That'd be a good chunk of change, too. Amanda says, so do boogers, Aaron. Only one G in booger. I might be wrong about that. Scratch what I said. Pick what I said. Don't scratch too hard, though. It might bleed. That's disgusting. We did it in school. Ew, boogers, huh? I might have that wrong. Been a while since I spelled the word booger. It's me says, Jesuit priests has their agenda. Well, all priests have their agenda. They're priests. They work under Catholicism. That is in and of itself an agenda. Those people are not Christians. I don't know why people don't understand this. Not in the sense that we talk about it. I mean, they are, but they're Christians and that's what they call themselves. But they don't follow the Bible at all. They use the Bible. That's their tool. But they're not following it. And I can prove that. I'm not just saying that. It's me says, withdrawn from what? Withdraw from what? Oh, that's a personal question. I can't answer that one. Aaron says, the frog was the worst. I skipped that day. Oh, when you had to cut the frog open? That has never bothered me. Well, I've been a hunter all my life. I used to sit out there as a child and watch my dad skin deer. That's never bothered me. I can skin an animal like nobody's business and butcher it too. That don't bother me at all. Blood don't bother me at all. Unless the thing is alive, then it bothers me. There's a smell that blood has when it's pumping, and it's very... it smells like a penny tastes, if that makes any sense. And that's intolerable to me. If somebody cuts an artery and there's pumping blood out, I'll pass out probably. But I could skin them once they're dead, no problem. I don't know why that is. I guess it's a mental thing. Amanda says, Bookers definitely has 2 G's. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I can't swear to that one. Aaron says, LOL. Okay, Wall. For those of you not paying attention, I see my chat jumped. For those of you not paying attention, that was me just admitting that I was wrong. So for those of you who think I never do that, you just witnessed it. Don't make a big deal about it. It did jump, didn't it? Good gracious. I'm sorry. Amanda says, talking about my beard, he lets it grow and wants to rub it on me. That's fun. Vera says, okay, I will get it at the shop. Please do. I promise you it'll make your day a whole lot better. I've been there. You hear me? I would get on my phone and see when they open and be there waiting on them when they open the door in the morning, if I were you. Or if you got time, go down. Go now. Walter Davis says, good evening, all. Hey, Walter. What's up, buddy? And Vera says, LOL, Amanda. And Amanda says, hey, Walter, you doing all right? Aaron says, did you hear they're taking candy off the food stamps? Well, that's about damn time. They probably should have done that a long time ago. I mean, if food stamps are there to help people in need, they don't need a candy bar. They need sugar and milk and cheese and bread. They don't need junk food, but they should leave Mountain Dew on there. That is a food group staple, at least in this household. Amanda says, that could be a good thing, Aaron. It could be. It also might save us a whole lot of money because believe me when I tell you, along with other things, Most of the food stamp money is getting spent on junk food. Most of it. Not all of it, but most of it. So if that money is reallocated into where you can only buy good food, well, at the very least, the people on food stamps will have better food to eat because they'll still want to spend it. They just won't be able to spend it on junk, so they'll have to buy good stuff with it. Hopefully. Hopefully, that's the idea anyway. I don't know what's in people's hearts, so people do what people do. But I would say probably subsidizing getting fat probably ain't a good thing for the government to be involved with. Aaron says, yep. Walter Davis says, hi, Jake, Vera, Ron, it's me, Amanda, Kevin, Fab, Patty, Bill, Walter. Nice to see you, buddy. How you doing out there? Are you hanging in there? Aaron says, they said to make healthy kids. Yeah, well, if you go out to any playground in America, you will notice something rather striking about the people there, in that there are no people there. That's new. They used to be full every weekend. Now they're not. And most of them are in disrepair because nobody goes there. Nobody cares. Most of the people are in the house playing video games. Maybe if the junk food isn't there, they won't stay there. They'll start wandering out, looking for junk food. And maybe just the act of leaving the house to go find junk food will be good for them, hopefully. I think the worst thing that ever happened to America is this thing right here. I really believe that. Yes, I'm a partaker. Yes, I'm a hypocrite. I use one. But I don't spend all my time on it. And I certainly don't have it in my hand when I'm having dinner with my family or talking to a friend or anything like that. But I think that's probably the single most damaging thing that's ever been invented. It set us back decades. Have you ever noticed that in the past, if you go back to 1940, the Philadelphia experiment, they were trying to make a battleship disappear, phase in and out of time in the 40s. They were experimenting with anti-gravity and the Luftwaffe, the big bell-shaped craft, and they were creating things that ran on remote control and electricity, and they were developing tube technology, which is futuristic as all get out back then. In the last 40 years, we've managed to make a smaller phone, and then a bigger phone, and then a smaller phone, and then a bigger phone, and then a tablet. Anybody notice any other innovations? No. We've got new stuff. We got the Tesla. Well, that's new. No, it's not. It's a battery and an electric motor. Guess what the first car was that was ever built? A car that ran on a battery and had an electric motor. That's the first one ever built. That's not a new technology. It might be a new package, but it's an old technology. Well, we've got plasma screen TVs. Well, if you'll go back to the early 2000s, they had the makings of that then. They were just very expensive. But CRT was easy. It was cheap, so that's why everything was CRT. And also, all the cameras did 4.3 ratio, so all of the TVs were square. When cameras went to digital and started doing 16.9 ratio, all the TVs all of a sudden went long. But it's still a TV. Where's the innovation? Where's the cure for things? Nobody's working on anything. We get a smaller MP3 player that turns into a phone. That's it. Aaron says, who's Ron, Walter? You know who Ron is. Ron. Amanda says, yeah, but it probably won't work, honestly. Probably not, but it's worth a try. It's better than doing nothing. Fab Daddy says, being a political punching bag made me tender. Why are you a political punching bag, Fab Daddy? Why don't you be a common sense contender and not a political punching bag? Try that for a little while. See if that feels better. Amanda says, well, fix it, Fab. Right on. Fab says, I am so soft now. Well, don't be soft. Aaron says, 1980. French guy did that, Jake. Did what? One of the innovations I was talking about? My point is we kind of stopped. There is nothing. The what?
The water stuff.
The water trick? I don't know what you're talking about.
Talking about the Chinese guy.
Oh, no. Chinese guy. Trust me. There might be a French guy, but the guy I'm thinking about is a Chinese guy. Or Japanese. He's Oriental anyway. I don't know what country he's from. Might be Korean. I don't know. But he might be following in that guy's footsteps, the French guy, because there is something there. If you watch the video that I'm asking you to look up, you'll find out that there's something unique about water that we didn't know about. It's a new thing that they've discovered that water can do. And there's something there. I don't know what it is. I don't want to put my finger on it and say it's, that's where God is. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there's something about water that's intrinsically unique. First thing you got to know about water, I don't know if you've ever thought about it this way or not, but there's no new water. The water that is here has always been here. It is the water that started here. So 100% you're drinking dinosaur pee. That's all I'm saying. You is Ron, says Walter. And Aaron says, Jacques Benaviste was the guy, Jake. Yeah, that might be a guy, but I'm talking about an Oriental guy. I'll look into that guy, though. I don't know if I've seen his work or not. I probably have, but if I've forgotten it. But I'll look and see anyway, because I like to find out about that sort of thing and keep up with what they're discovering. Fab Daddy says, Walter, good to see you. And Aaron says, Walter, my name is Aaron. Fab Daddy says, Ron is easier to type. Right on. Walter says, okay, Aaron. And Amanda says, boogers definitely have 2 G's. Yeah, well, you might be right about that. I'm not the best speller in the world. Aaron says, LOL. Okay, Wall. And Walter says, hang on. Walter says, yeah, it's kind of metallic, Jake. Mm-hmm. Blood. It sure is. It's me says, oh, okay, Amanda. And Aaron says, I just noticed my name can be a girl's name both forwards and backwards. Yep. My ad is real today. Your ad is real today? Yeah, my ADD is real today. Got it. ADD. Haha. Adult dumbass disorder. Yeah, I got that too. Yeah, your name spelled backwards is Nora with 2 A's. I wish I was named Naomi. Naomi spelled backwards is I moan. It's me says, hey, Walter. And Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. And Walter says, finishing up my broke truck. I hear you. I have to load it with hay for tomorrow, and I just finished dinner. Sounds good. What'd you have? I had tacos for dinner with sour cream and hot sauce. And yeah. Amanda says, but the downside to good food is it's expensive and people will run out of food faster. Well, not necessarily. If these tariff things end up working over time, which we're hoping they will, prices will go down for everything. Aaron says, I'm sorry your truck is broke, Walter. And Walter says, Aaron is a girl's name. Aaron is not. Well, if you name her Aaron, it is. Aaron says, wrong, Walter. It can be both. Walter says, got to put the starter back on, and it's fixed. Well, that's fantastic. That shouldn't be too hard to do. Unless you're talking about the newer truck that had the starter problem last week or so, a couple weeks ago. And that's the case, they make that thing unnecessarily hard to change. I miss the days when you didn't even have to use a jack. You could just roll up under it and take 2 bolts out and switch it out. Aaron says, or they spell it ARRON and AYRUN. A-run. It's dumb, LOL. Walter says, yep. 4 radiators in trucks and 3 cars. Not really an advantage. Right on. Aaron says, I'm glad it's an easy fix, Walter. Fab Daddy says, quantum is new. No, it's not. Some people's understanding of it may be, if you even think that it's real. There is something to it, but my guess is that most of it has gone down a road that is unnecessarily stupid in the sake of searching for more funding, such as dark matter and dark energy and black holes and string theory and that sort of thing. I'm here to tell you, write it down that I said so. I know you're going to laugh in my face, and that's fine. You can do that, but write it down. Write it down. Say, Jake said, put the date on it, and write down what I say next. All that stuff's not real. It's fake. It's made up. There you go. Now, it's going to take about 10 more years, but I promise you, and you can already see cracks today. If you go looking, you'll already hear scientists talking about it, but it'll take 10 more years for it to be mainstream. But in 10 years, everybody's going to say that. And the reason they're going to say it is because they're not going to be able to get funded for it anymore. Because people are getting smarter every day. Walter says, they got stuff that tracks everything you say and do. Sure. That's not new technology, though. Fab Daddy says, a transistor that is both on and off or both. Well, yeah, that's called a super transistor. That's also not new technology. Fusion is new. Well, nobody's done fusion yet, Fab Daddy. That's just a word people use. Nobody can pull off fusion. What you're thinking of is fission, which is doable. Fusion is an idea that hasn't happened yet. Walter says, a diode, right on. All 1960s technology. Water is life, says Aaron. I agree with that. I think water is intrinsic to life. I don't know if it is life. It may very well be what life comes from, though. It's me says, anybody ever go saltwater fishing on the ocean? I'm not. I try to stay out of the ocean. Everything in that thing is trying to eat me or kill me, and the ocean could just burp and civilizations could be gone. And I don't want anything to do with that. So I try to stay out of the ocean. Walter says, it's the water that got pulled off Mars when the moon flew by and dragged the atmosphere and brought it to Earth. That sounds like a thing planets can do. Walter says, it's me, yes. And Fab Daddy says, dinosaur pee is the reason the ocean is salty. Actually, the rain is the reason the ocean is salty, but I like yours. Aaron says, it's me. I do fish, and I love it in Florida. ADD. I'm using that. Right on. Well, anything I come up with, you can have, Aaron. I'm sharing it all. I'm keeping no intellectual property on anything. If it came out of my mouth, it's yours. I probably stole it from somebody else, but it's yours anyway. Bill Bennett says, guys, have a great night. I'm pooped. I hope to see you all soon. God bless. Bill, God bless you, sir. Thank you for being here. And get you some rest, man. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Walter says, the last starter was a was on a backhoe or an excavator. Right on. It's me says, A Ron, cool. Amanda says, AYRUN. Say that slow. A Run. Or AYRUN. AYRUN. Hey, why are you in? Why are you in, eh? Nuria. Yes, I can read backwards. Freaks people out when I do it, but I can do it. Amanda says, good night, Bill. And Walter says, good night, Bill. Oh. Aaron says, LOL, Amanda, if it sounds like a warning. Right, it's probably a warning. Fab Daddy says, fusion has been done. By whom? By whom and where? And why don't we see any product of it? No, it has not. There is a type of fusion, you might be talking about that, where you push two atoms together. What I'm referring to is cold fusion, where they put two atoms together and split them, and then it causes an overreaction that splits all the atoms near it, causing a chain reaction that is never ending. That's called cold fusion, and it's done at room temperature. Oddly enough, it's called cold fusion. What you're talking about is what the sun does, which is decimating atoms. That's not the same thing. That's not actual fusion. That's fission. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron, it's me says, and they're doing that at that place where they smash protons and neutrons. I think it's around Switzerland. You're talking about the CERN Hadron Collider. They are not doing fusion at CERN. They are smashing protons and atoms together to see what pops out of them, and that's all they do there. They don't produce fusion, no. That's the CERN Hadron Collider. There's one here in the United States, too, but it's smaller. The one in Switzerland's the biggest one, but I think there's 3 of them in the world. Fab Daddy says the collider is different than fusion. Right, it is. They're not doing fusion there. Walter says, that's a super collider. Fusion is atom bombs and nuclear reactors, power plants. Yeah, that's a type of fusion, but that's not what I'm referring to. When I say fusion, I'm talking about legitimately actual fusion, chain reaction that is self-sustaining, that has not been done. They do parts of fusion, I guess you could call it like that. It's in the fusion world, but it's not proper fusion. I've done quite a lot of research on this topic. I've been very interested in cold fusion my whole life. It's one of the things I get off on is trying to figure out what makes the universe tick. And I've come a long way. I know some stuff. That don't mean I've got a good handle on it, so I don't talk a lot about it. But I get the gist. Everything can be broken down to what's known as a Planck. Planck is a unit of measurement. It's the smallest unit of measurement we have. Anything beyond that is undetectable by humankind. And it itself looks like a pixel and acts like one too. A pixel, like what you see on your screen in front of you. Which is why there's people out there that assume that we live in a holographic universe, because the universe kind of does act like a pixel. And there's this thing called spooky, what's the word? I missed the word. String theory, spooky something. It's where two atoms are entangled. And when you do something to one, the other one reacts to it no matter how far apart they are. And then you can also go a little further than that and find that atoms seem to appear when they need to, and then they're not there when they don't need to, which is weird. Spooky. I won't say logic, but that's the wrong word. Spooky something. It's quantum entanglement is what I'm talking about, but there's a word that they use, spooky something. Anyway. Aaron says, how much for a shirt with that on it? Adult dumbass disorder. Well, whatever the shirt costs to buy, I'll make one. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron, you're going to have an entire Jake saying wardrobe. I don't know if any shirts have been bought yet. Aaron says, I just caught what you meant, Amanda. AYRUN. It went over my head. Hey, are you in? Amanda says, yes. Aaron says, yes, Amanda, I'll have good shorts and feed Jake. Rock on. I didn't even have time to put those up tonight, so you have to go to the store on your own. Fab Daddy says, Lawrence Livermore Labs in California made fusion by focusing lasers. Yeah, that's not fusion. That's a reaction similar to fusion. That's not fusion. Lasers cannot cause fusion. I think if you look into it, you'll find out they're not actually doing fusion. They're doing a piece of fusion, one-step fusion. They're for demonstration purposes. It's not sustainable. You can't. It takes more energy to run a laser than it does that you're getting out of the energy that's from the reaction they're causing. It's not fusion. They're playing with fusion. They haven't succeeded at doing fusion yet, I promise. Amanda says, LOL, a little slow tonight, Aaron. Aaron says, yep, my brain is off today. Mine too, apparently. Walter says, hold on, my chat jumped. There is a collider in New Jersey. Yep. One that's bigger in California, and the biggest one is CERN. And I said that. A guy I went to high school with, his father works at all of them. Yeah, that's pretty interesting what they're doing there. A little scary. But it's not fusion. What it is they're basically breaking all of the particles in the universe apart to see what's inside of them or what's produced when they break apart. And so they guess. I wonder what happens when you smash two atoms together. One might guess, well, it'll break apart and all of its individual pieces will come out, and maybe the reaction will produce a quartz particle, or what they call the God particle. And so they smash them together to see, and they record that. And they record it in real time, real slow, down to the millisecond. And they trace the trajectory of every fragment that comes out. And they label them. That's what they're doing there. And they've seen some pretty interesting stuff by smashing different particles together, but nothing useful yet. Fab Daddy says, and no, they are using magnets in a toroidal shape to maintain plasma in a fusion state. Okay, well, that shows to me that you don't understand fusion, because plasma is not part of fusion. Fusion is when atoms collide on purpose and then cause a chain reaction and explosion. It's matter and antimatter coming together, basically. And what that does is it produces a vast amount of energy on impact. And then that energy is used like fuel. And then it restores itself, and it's self-sustaining. That's the idea behind fusion, that once you start it, it's like a star. It just keeps going. And then it just eats whatever it is fed. You know, if it's in a room, it eats all the atoms in the room, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger unless you contain it, because you don't want that kind of technology getting out of hand. That's what universe killers look like. One of the reasons they haven't done it yet, because they can't control it. Have you seen the movie The Saint? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. It's a good movie. R.I.P. Val Kilmer. And good gracious, Elizabeth Shue. She was in Adventures in Babysitting, too. And Hollow Man. And how, by the way, how would magnets contain fusion. That doesn't make any sense. Magnets work on the flux lines of the Earth or any other magnetic property. That doesn't really have anything to do with atoms. It's Me says they had a Hindu goddess doing religiosity dance when CERN opened. Oh, it was worse than that. Yeah, they had actual demons out there. Not actual. I mean, they had people in effigy being demons. And you go look at it. It's kind of creepy what they were doing. And you ask yourself, why would you do that at a scientific place of business? That's very religious, on the dark side of religion, by the way. It's akin to devil worship, what they were doing. Why would you do that at a scientific? Didn't you guys tell us that religion is bad, science is good? Why are you having a ritual outside of your scientific business? There's something weird there. You look into that. The dance of destruction. Yeah. Just like Oppenheimer said, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. They have become death times 10. Amy Elizabeth says, like, share, and invited some friends. Hey, y'all. Hey, Amy. How are you, sweetie? Amanda says, hi, Amy. Walter says, hi. Aaron says, hi. Aaron says, 1.616255 times 10 to the 35th power equals a plank. Jake is correct. We use this in robotics. Thank you, sir. See, I do know a thing or two. They think that because I talk like a hillbilly that I don't know anything. I seem to be having this argument a lot these days. I don't know why. Maybe I'm coming off wrong. I accept all forms of therapy. Amy says, God created Adam, man created the atom. Well, no, God created the atom too. Man just discovered it. I love the British and the European philosophy of life. Look, we discovered fire. Look, we discovered electricity. Look, we discovered this and that. You didn't discover anything, asshole. You just stumbled upon it and was smart enough to write it down. I got news for you. Lightning has been striking since we've been here. You just figured out how to grab it. Sorry. Day one on planet Earth, if someone could have built a light bulb and a switch, it would have came on. Day one. They just didn't figure it out for a while. They probably need a power plant too, but you get my meaning. The atoms are what the world is created out of. It's a building block that God used. If you want to understand this, you're not gonna. I'll tell you that right now. But I'll tell you where to start looking. Look at the flower of life. Look at the Kabbalah. Look at the tree of life. Look at the symbolism behind it. Look at the yin yang. Look at the lotus and all of the ancient writings about that. Look at the dodecahedron and you'll find God. Look at pi. Look at 3, 6, and 9. If you understand those three numbers, you understand the keys to the universe. That's where to look. But I can't explain it to you. You're going to be lost for a while. And then you'll begin to see glimpses of what appear to be structure. And as you get closer to grasping it, it will reveal more of itself unto you until you finally understand what that big circular ball that's under the lion's foot in China looks like. You know, looks like a big dog holding a ball. If you look real close at it, that's actually the flower of life. It's a never-ending circle of circles. And every time that the lines intersect, that has a meaning. And you can unfold that into reality. Those are the building blocks of God, and they were struggling with it in ancient times. They did most certainly understood that it was there. And they're struggling with it now. They just call it string theory now. Back then they called it something else. But as you get closer, you'll start to notice trends, and we're stuck in one of them right now. Everything is towards trying to explain the universe without saying the word God, which has led us down many rabbit holes, including dark energy, dark matter, black holes, so forth and so on. The God particle. It's all nonsense. It's all them trying to explain everything without using the word God. It's impossible. You can't do it. And the more you try, the more the more idiotic things you have to throw out there. And at some point, it's going to lose all face and fall flat on it. Write it down that I said so. Science is on its way to crumbling. As we're speaking today, right now, about half of the scientists are at the end of their rope. The rest of them don't know there's a rope. They're just doing what they think they're supposed to do, or doing what they think they can get money to do. But the ones that know there's a rope, they're at the end of it. And I promise you, it won't be much longer. You're going to start hearing things. Matter of fact, if you'll read New York Times a week ago, there was an article that was written by the people who did the initial research on attention deficit disorder. It's funny you brought that up, Aaron. And they basically admitted that it was all fraud, and they made it up to sell drugs. Anyway, that's what they'll admit. What do you think they won't admit? Write it down that I said so. Everything with a capital E, everything, is bullshit. All of it. And the more you look, the worse it gets. Aaron says, hey, Amy. Fab Daddy says, CERN was developed to locate the hypothetical Bose-Higgins. Yeah. I don't think that's the right word, but yeah. The God particle. That's what you're trying to say. Bose-Higgins. It's Bose something. I can't remember. My brain ain't fully on yet. But yes, that's exactly what they're there to do, to find that and other things. That's one of the things they wanted to prove. And they have proven that there's a thing that they're calling that I don't know if it is that or not, but they've definitely found some stuff. One of them is the quartz. Not quartz like a crystal. Quartz like a particle. Anyway. Amanda says, Jake, put your tongue back in your mouth, Elizabeth Shue. Hey, my tongue would be anywhere but my mouth if she were here. Jean-Claude Van Damme's fusion reaction. Jake. Jean-Claude Van Damme fusion reaction takes place in a state of matter called plasma, a hot charge gas made of positive ions. Well, it sounds good. Thank you, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Sounds good, though. Who are you, Jean-Claude Van Damme? Jean-Claude Van Damme. I like the name. Clever. Jean-Claude's damn van. I can say it. I'm not having a stroke. Plasma has nothing to do with fusion in the way that I'm talking about it. And I've already reiterated, I'm speaking of cold fusion, not fission. Amy Elizabeth says, I like the video that Jake sent me. 2 babies in the womb asking if there is life after delivery. Yes. Wasn't that clever? I thought you'd like that. It's me says, yes, Amy. BS. Ha 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 ha. Right on. I got to go back up because my chat jumped. Amanda says, hi, Jean-Claude. Welcome. Aaron says, LOL. The name is funny, John Van. It's me says, I used to live in a van down by the river. Me too. Fab Daddy says, we discovered aluminum. You did not. No, you did not. Aluminum has always been there. You just stumbled upon it. Fab Daddy says, no natural aluminum in real life. Yes, there is. Do you know what aluminum is? I'm going to get it completely wrong because it's been a while since I've done metallurgy, but it's like tin, nickel, and steel. Certain parts of each mixed together. Aluminum is an alloy. It's mixed. So, yeah. There's plenty of aluminum all over the world. You have aluminum in your body. Your body makes aluminum. So, but it's something like that. I don't know if it's exactly that, but it's like 10% of this and 15% of that and 30% of that and the rest something else. Anyway. Aaron says, that's cool. Me? That's cool. Me? It's me. That's cool, it's me. Amy says, everything is bullshit. Yep. I want a picture of a bull looking behind him, where you see the bull's ass and his horns as he looks behind him, and then a pile down on the ground. And that's the emoji I'm going to do for bullshit. Jean-Claude's damn van says, Fab Daddy, aluminum is the most abundant metallic element in the Earth's crust, making up about 88.1% of it. Oh, snap. Amy Elizabeth says, I like the I read that one. It's Me says, yes, Amy. BS, haha. I think everybody should see that video. I might put it in the community chat so everybody can watch it. I don't know how that works, though, since somebody else made that video. I don't know if I can share it or not, but if I can, I will. Fab Daddy says, yes, but when it's first, but when it first was discovered, it was worth more than gold for about 5 minutes, yeah, until they realized it was crappy. The real problem is it was discovered in England, and nobody else in the world wanted to say aluminium, so they couldn't sell it. It's Me says, I always wondered what they put on to make it wax paper. Wax. It's actually rice paper with a coating, probably beeswax or something like that. Aaron says, LOL, don't step in it, Amy. Right on. Bauxite says, Fab Daddy. Right on. Opal, your turn. Oh, I thought we were saying unnecessary words. Dakota says, hey, friends. Hey, Dakota. Fab Daddy says, put aluminium is not alloy. You're wrong. You're incorrect. Aluminium is an alloy. It's in the name. Alum. Alum is on the periodic table. So it's very abundant in the world. You just have to mix it with some other stuff to get aluminum. Fab Daddy says, Amanda says, hey, Dakota. And Fab Daddy says, pure, not put. Pure aluminum. Pure aluminum is not aluminum. It's alum, which you can take as a vitamin supplement because your body requires a very tiny amount of aluminum in it. I need a cave so I can sit at the mouth of it and talk. Otherwise, everybody's always going to question everything. Jean-Claude said, Fab Daddy, I posted comment to refute your claim. No natural aluminum in the real life. Aluminum is natural to this earth, yes. There might not be any aluminum anywhere else in the universe, as I said, because you have to mix things in it to make it aluminum, but it's definitely here. We didn't invent it. Bauxite is the ingredient for aluminum. Bauxite is the ore. Funny. I thought it was alum. Amy says, only because God created aluminum is everything else for us to use. And everything else for us to use, right? Yeah, this is the thing that I want to put this in that book that I'm eventually going to write. And I need to articulate it better than I'm doing tonight, but I want you to think about this. Why is it that no one else seems to have approached the idea that everything on planet Earth seems to be useful to us? If this was all random happenstance, why would there be things that have no other use except for us to use, like oil, for example. Can you think of anything oil does to the world? So if human was not here, if humankind did not exist, what would oil do? Nothing. It would be there, but there's no use for it. It doesn't benefit the earth in any way. It doesn't help lubricate the plates, the tectonic plates. It doesn't, fertilize the ground. It's actually bad for plants. Think about that. What does gold do? What purpose does it serve if humans were not on planet Earth? Or silver, or coal, or natural gas, or salt. What does salt do? Salt is savory. It's for eating, and you can use it for medicine. But what else does it do? Does anybody know? Does anybody have an answer to that question? I await you with bated breath on the edge of my seat. Because in my mind, that's the purest proof of God that exists. Amanda says aluminum can be an alloy. Pure aluminum has limited practical use due to its low strength. To improve its properties, it's often combined with other elements like silicon, copper, and magnesium. There you go. Yeah, because it's an alloy. Alloy means it's stuff mixed together. More than one thing makes a metal. That's an alloy. Metal is like steel or iron. It's pure right by itself. Gold, silver, those are metals, baser metals and more intrinsically valuable metals, but they're metal. If you look at the periodic table, it's split down the middle. Things that turn into metal, things that don't. Things that are brittle, things that are not. Things that are, magnetic, things that are not. It's like that. So if it's in the middle of the periodic table, such as alum and other elements, it doesn't make a pure metal. So you have to mix something else with it to make it metal, make it lean more towards the metal side of things, the more brittle side of things. Anyway, I did a Hyperbole, an episode of Hyperbole on the periodic table. I think it's episode 5 or 6. I can't remember. Might be 4. But go check it out. It's in the title. Go look. You will not regret, because I doubt anybody's ever told you how the periodic table works other than just looking at it. And that'll give you a good idea of how that works and why it's there and what unique things are there, such as hydrogen, which is all by itself. Everything else is paired. Hydrogen is alone. Why? Because it's unique. Anyway, check it out. Jean-Claude says, in minerals such as bauxite and cryolite, from which it is extracted, aluminium is a natural element. Well, it's on the periodic table, so. Amanda says magnesium and zinc to create various aluminum alloys. Right. Well, anytime you add something else to a metal to make it more metal, that's an alloy. That's what the word means. It's Me says, I mistakenly put aluminum in a microwave, and it scared me at first. Haha. It should. It'd also blow your microwave up. Don't do that. There's a guy on YouTube for a while wadding up tinfoil and telling people, put it in the microwave and put it on 10, and then he pulls out a steel ball after it dings. Look what you can do. And I said, don't do that. That guy's lying to you. Don't do that. You'll blow up your house. Aaron says, the robots we make are made of aluminum alloy. It's mixed for strength. Yes, more metal. Yeah. Amy says, the movie iRobot scared me. I understand why. But I assure you, if you ever worry about that, go out and buy you a nice laptop, a good one. Don't cheap out. Buy you an expensive one because it's the best made, and bring it home. This is current technology, the best we have. And make a pot of coffee and sit down at your brand new laptop and pour a little of your coffee on it and see what happens. And then you can know that as long as coffee exists, you should not fear the AI uprising. Aaron says, it shouldn't, They will never be that smart, Amy. Nope. It's me says, well, what is titanium then? Titanium is a pure form of metal. It's some people think it comes from outer space. Nobody really knows. There's a certain amount of it on Earth. It's not in abundance like, say, iron is, but there's some of it out there. And it's just a harder metal, that's all. Aaron says, a mix of rare metals. Isme says, what is titanium? Just another metal. Aaron says, that's why they steal catalytic converters. Right on, because it's got titanium in it, and it's valuable. It's not quite as valuable as gold, but more valuable than aluminum or copper. Amy says, titanium is what the steel plate in my leg is made from. Right on. You ought to cut your leg off and go sell that joker on the black market. That ought to be worth, what, $50? That'll get you a Big Mac anyway. If you ever fall on hard times, you know what to do. If you can find a pocket knife, which will probably not be made out of titanium. Fab Daddy says, rare earth metals. Amanda says, titanium is primarily extracted from the mineral ilmenite and rutile, whatever those are. These materials are then processed using methods like the Kroll process. That's what they glaive, and they find it in a pit of lava, and they pull it out and go. Anyway, the Kroll method, yeah, which is a Star Wars knockoff. Anyway, which involves converting the titanium to something. Amy says, not a steel plate, but you guys know what I meant. Titanium plate. I got you. It's me says, diamond is the only thing that can cut titanium. I beg to differ. You can cut titanium with water. Diamond is the hardest substance that we're aware of as far as stones go. There are other things harder than diamond. But the reason diamonds are so hard, if you look at their atoms, they're all in perfect align. If you look at other things, their atoms are kind of crisscrossed or latticed. But diamond is a perfect square of atoms. They're perfectly in line with each other in every direction. And that's what makes it so rigid. It's actually quite beautiful if you look at it under a microscope, electron microscope. Jean-Claude says, titanium is a chemical element. Fab Daddy says, the only thing that can cut a diamond is another diamond. Also not true. I can cut a diamond with a sledgehammer. Amy says, when I die, my kids can sell my leg. Right on. I would just hook it on the back of my truck and let it dangle. You know, like those ball sacks that are on the back of some trucks. And have a leg hanging there. Why? To be contrarian. Aaron says, or a laser. Right on. A laser will cut a diamond. Fab Daddy says, but you can melt a diamond. I don't know if you can or not, but I know that's how it got in that place. That's how it got in that circumstance in the first place. Because you take coal and put it under immense heat and immense pressure, and it turns into a diamond over time. Or 2 weeks in a lab if you do it with a press. But they swear all of those diamonds are marked so that they would never sell those to people. Those are how did they call it? Locally sourced diamond or ethically sourced diamond. That's what it was. Those are ethical diamonds. No sweatshops or diamond mines for those guys. I say, whoever figured out that they could make a diamond in the lab probably didn't tell anybody for a while. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's me says, that's funny, Amy. Amy says, titanium is also a brand of golf ball. I get tennis elbow real bad, but I've known people that had golf balls. Jean-Claude says, titanium is a silvery gray metal chemical element, low density, high strength, resistant to corrosion. Yes, it's on the periodic table somewhere in this area. Which is, go watch Hyperbole, you'll get it. Amy says, titanium were the people who decided not to go on the Titanic. They saw the ship and said, Titan, we're, yep, that's reaching. You tried, though. That's what matters. It's me says, I think you mean the golf clubs. No, I meant golf balls. They swell up real big. There was this old man just got finished playing a round of golf. And he picked his balls up and he shoved them in his pocket. And he walked over and sat down at the bus stop. And here come this little old lady and sat down beside him. And she happened to glance over and noticed that his pocket was bulged out with them golf balls in his pocket. And she went, and he looked at her and was like, ma'am? And she went, and looked down and he goes, oh, golf balls. She said, yeah, my husband has tennis elbow real bad sometimes. Amy says, yep, I was hoping nobody pointed that out. It's me. Fab Daddy says, your sledgehammer would have multiple divots if you tried smashing it. Eventually, the heat from impact would crack the diamond. Yeah. But I know how to swing a sledgehammer, so I could probably get that done in one swing because it is still a rock. Aaron says, I guess when it says I cost an arm and a leg, I got to find Amy for the leg. Right on, Aaron. That's how you do it. Amanda says, LOL, Amy. It's me says, right, Amy? And Aaron says, yep. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. All right. Hey, do me a favor, guys. While you're sitting here chit-chatting about sciencey stuff, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Press the bell icon so you get notifications when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's right in front of you. It really does help the channel with the algorithms. There's 12 people in chat right now, and there's only 7 likes. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you think it critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what you hear tonight and you want to see what happens on other nights, which is way better than tonight, and you'd like to help us keep coming, and you'd like to help out, you can do that by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband, or if you're a Cash App user, $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It is a blessing for me, but it is a blessing for you too because God notices these things. You can also hit that join button down in the bottom left corner there and join the channel. Get yourself a J tag. It looks great on the end of your name. It gives you the proper authority in the world. Look at me with my J badge. You'll be set apart from everybody else on the internet. Or you can buy a t-shirt, which isn't in the chat right now, but you can get the description down below. Or you can put a super chat in the chat box because they are available. You can feed Jake over there if you want to, and I appreciate that very much. Now, I'll do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. I will answer all your questions and comments as I always do right now. Thank you. Oh, Amy says, the plate in my leg made me find Jesus again, so it's worth more than any amount of money. I hear you. I hear you. Amanda says, smash that like button with just a tip. Tickle it with just a tip. Just one time. Now there's 8 and 13 people in chat. Come on, hit that like button. It's free. I know it's a waste of time, but it helps me out. And the numbers really do matter, so I'd appreciate it if you give me that much. I think you've learned enough here tonight to warrant you reaching over and hitting a button. Amanda says, right, Amy. It's me says, a blessing in disguise, Amy. Always. Everything that happens to you is a blessing in disguise. Aaron says they are all blood diamonds. Sad market. Yes, and if you really want to know the truth about it, they are falsely scarce. Most of the diamonds that are in the world today are under lock and key in a warehouse, undisclosed locations. Very few of them are on the market. And the very best ones are not on the market. They're hidden. Why? So that they can jack the price up, make them very valuable. They'd be worthless if they were all out on the market today. That's just the truth of the matter. Also, if you're wearing a gold ring, look down at it. Chances are that gold ring was once in Egypt under the care of a pharaoh, or in South America under the care of Quetzalcoatl or somebody like that. Because there's no new gold. It just keeps getting recycled and beaten into other things. Might have been on the Oregon Trail going across the United States to California, or the other direction probably. There is no new gold. So chances are you're wearing a piece of jewelry that was once in the Han Dynasty in China or something like that. You'll never know. You can't trace it, but it's kind of neat to think about. Amy says lab manufactured diamonds are kind of blood diamonds too, Aaron. Yeah. Jean-Claude says, I knew several guys just like you in my long life. Really? What does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I thought I was one of a kind, but do tell. I'm interested to find out who these guys are. Aaron says, I agree, Amy. Just said that. Amy says, what kind of guys just like him? Asking respectfully. Yeah, me too. I want to know. Tell us what you mean, Jean-Claude. And by the way, welcome to the show if I didn't say that already. Patty says, thank you, Miss Amanda and Jake. Take care. All blessings. Patty, I love you, sweetheart. You take care, too. Have a good night and get some rest. And Amanda says, what do you mean, Jean-Claude, damn van? Yeah, you done scratched a hornet's nest there, Jean-Claude. Tell us what you're talking about. And Amanda says, good night, Patty, and you're welcome, hon. And Aaron says, they are talking to me. Are they talking to me? No, they're talking to me. If you're talking about what they're asking about. Amy says, hi, Patty, and bye, Patty. Apparently, Jean-Claude's damn van, who has yet to introduce himself to us, has known several people like me in his life. And that's interesting. I am very eager to find out the meaning behind that statement. Coming off the heels of last night, that's right on time. Nothing? Come on, man. I can take it. Oh, on another note, yesterday I acquired a jazz bass. It is a SX 5-string jazz bass that's sunburst. Check it out. Go look it up. You'll get to see what it looks like. And very excited about that. It's a very nice instrument. It's Me says AI is dangerous. Yeah, but mankind is not. So you don't have to worry about that. I promise you, I'll give you my word on it right now as a patron saint or whatever else there is. You will not have to worry about AI. The worst it'll do is ruin your trip to the grocery store. You'll see it everywhere. It'll be in calculators and in consoles and everywhere. They'll be talking about AI, the new AI, the next generation of AI, the new and improved, much smarter AI. But it ain't really ever going to do anything except count. That's pretty much it. Yes, it's a long scale bass. It's me. Matter of fact, it's coming to me right now. Will you bring me that bass? I'll show it to you. If you can get it. If you can't, that's all right. Amanda says, inquiring minds want to know Jean-Claude's damn van. Fab Daddy says, preconceived notions are a protective device we use for our happiness. That's a very astute saying there, Fab Daddy. Very stellar of you. Aaron says, release the Kraken. Well, if I can ever find out what he meant, you might see the Kraken.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. All right, check it out. Kind of hard to get it in frame. There you go. What do you think? Isn't that pretty? It is very well made. It is swamp ash and rock maple, hard rock maple, Canadian maple. It has a real rosewood fretboard, the real stuff. It's a 5-string. It's got D'Addario strings on it, and it is a vintage series, SX. And what SX is a company kind of like Squire that came out in the 80s or 70s, and they made lawsuit guitars, which is what this is. This is an exact copy of a Fender Jazzmaster, jazz bass. And then they started branching off and making their own things. But for a while, they made lawsuit guitars, and I got lucky enough to get one of them for $130. Sweet. So it's now on my wall. It's Me says, I'd like a Mosrite bass. Yes, Mosrite is a very good instrument made popular by the Beach Boys and by the Ventures. The Ventures. Yeah, the Ventures. Jean-Claude Stamvan says, you do really want to know. Well, I didn't ask for no reason. Tell me what you're saying there, Jean-Claude. It's Me, and not only me, but everybody else wants to know, too. You don't just make a statement like that and run. What did you mean? I can take it. Be prepared, though. I bite back. It's Me says, good-looking bass. Thank you. And I like it. And it plays like butter when I get some new strings on it. Rich S. Hi, gang. Better late than never. What's up, Rich? Nice to see you, my friend. Aaron says, yes. And Amanda says, yeah, John, we're waiting to hear. Debbie's here. Hey, Debbie. She says the smartest AI will still need humans to run it. Amen. And also to program it. So that means that the AI will only be as smart as the people that programmed it. You don't have anything to worry about. It'll have the same flaws people have. And at best, all that AI is going to prove is that it requires intelligence to create intelligence. Pardon me. Fab Daddy says, yes, Jean-Claude, we want to know. And Amanda says, it's heavy, LOL. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I think it weighs about 11 or 12 pounds. Amy says, I saw a news clip this morning. A high school student was hospitalized because someone laced his vape with fentanyl. It took 2 doses of Narcan to revive him. Tell your kids about the dangers of fentanyl, please. Yes, that's a good public service announcement there, Amy. Everyone should be educated about fentanyl and know what it can be in. So stay away from those things for a while. Aaron says, big rich, yo. No. I got lucky. I was able to get it with, installments. But the reason I got it is because it was in a used shop where undoubtedly some punk would get it and ruin it. And that's a good vintage instrument, and it needs to be preserved. And I'm trying to preserve them. And it's equity also. When I buy an instrument, I'm not just buying it to play it. I'm buying it to preserve it, which means I'll be able to resell it at a higher value later. So it's equity. Amanda says, hi, Rich. Rich says, message deleted. Oh, really? I don't know him personally, but I have done a debunking video about him. Jean-Claude says, yep, know-it-all guys, pretty arrogant, pompous guys with superficial educations, elevating themselves above others, narcissistic. All right. Jean-Claude Van Damme uses some big words. Well, Jean-Claude, I would like for you to take a poll while you're here and ask anybody here at your leisure if they agree with you. Because most of them have taken the time to actually listen to me for a little while instead of just making a snap judgment based on very little information like you just did. And most of them are probably worlds smarter. So you should probably ask them what they think. And also, I'll stand with my wit against anything you want to bring any day of the week. You don't know a damn thing about me. You have no idea where I got my education from, if I even have one. You have no idea what I'm capable of or what I know. We're just having a friendly conversation here about shit. It's not even the topic of what this channel is about. We're just discussing stuff, random stuff that just came up tonight off the top of my head. So any day, night, evening, morning, you name it, you pick the spot, I'll show up. But I promise you, you have never, ever wanted to feel as low as you're going to feel that day. So, arrogant? No, I'm not arrogant. I know where my flaws are. Narcissistic? Absolutely not. I'm not narcissistic in the slightest bit. I'm not in love with myself. Also, I don't think you know what the definition of that word is. I think you're using a word you heard somebody else say. Now, superficial? Yeah, you could say that. Because I don't flaunt my education. I have not once in the history of the 10 years of over 1,000 videos that I have posted, not once have I ever listed my education or bragged about how much of it I have. So, you could say that my education is superficial in that it doesn't play a role in what I do here. It's not important. You don't know if I've got degrees or not, which I do more than I have fingers and toes, but that's beside the point. Making myself smarter than other people? Ask anybody in this chat how often I divert to the wisdom of the chat. I'm not placing myself above anyone. I'm running a YouTube channel, so I have to be a personality, and I have to be interesting to watch, and I have to be in front of a camera. So, would you rather me be timid and weak or assertive and dominant? I don't know what you like in a television program, but I like somebody who knows what they're talking about. So, that's what I'm doing here. Everyone here understands that except apparently you. So I hope you rolled out of bed feeling good about yourself this morning, because tonight you made yourself look like a giant jackass. Enjoy. And come on back anytime you want. Amanda says, hi, Debbie. Fab Daddy says, Rich, stop doxing. Rich didn't dox anybody. Unless he put somebody's address or something on the screen, which he didn't. He was asking me if I know another public figure. Are you the one that removed his chat there? That wasn't a dox. He's just asking me if I knew the guy. Aaron says, you were right, Debbie, about AI. I make them, and they're nothing. Right on. Amy says, ha, ha, ha. And I'm sure that was pointed at Jean-Claude there. Amy says, I think he wants to compare brain pans. I think he better get another brain pan or two. And eat some Wheaties. He's going to need it. Isn't it funny how people make snap decisions like that or judgments like that? Debbie says, I had an old 𝕿𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝 upright piano. I know what a 𝕿𝕚𝕝 is. I've restored one in my life. Beautiful piano. And I donated it to a music school when I moved. I donated it to a keyboard player in a rock and roll band in Florida because I didn't want to have to move it. So he came and got it. But I used to own a 𝕿𝕚𝕝𝕝 upright. They're beautiful pianos. Jean-Claude says, it's the attitude you present yourself with. Only attitude I'm presenting myself is me. This is what I look like 24/7. If you think that's an attitude, maybe you should look to your left and then look to your right. And if you don't see an asshole, it might be you. I am me. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. It's me, says Terminator AI comes to life, ? It'll never be like that. That is the best case scenario, considering that they'd get everything right all the time. And even at that, it's a stretch. But I would caution you to remember that no matter how badass the Terminator appeared to be, a 90-pound woman still beat its ass. So, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Aaron says, uh-oh. And Amanda says, LOL, you have him all wrong. Jean-Claude, listen to one of the chat. You have him all wrong. He is well educated and knows what he's talking about. You don't know him. And Amy says, that's wonderful, Debbie. And Fab Daddy says, interesting, John. Thanks for honesty. Notice that nobody's agreeing with you or jumping to your defense. Amanda says, and while is absolutely not a narcissist. And he is absolutely not a narcissist. No, I'm not in love with myself. I don't sit looking at myself in the mirror until I die, which is what Narcissus did, in case you don't know. Aaron says, I think he says he knows good stand-up men that keep their word and love their lady and work hard, Amanda. Apparently, that's not what he was saying. Amy says, one person's arrogance is another person's confidence. Well, arrogance, if you look that word up in the dictionary, let's see. I'll do it for you, since we've had discussion before. The term arrogant refers to someone who is unpleasantly proud and behaves as if they are more important than others. It often involves exaggerating one's own worth or importance or looking down on others. A synonym of arrogant is haughty or smug or superfluous. The anonym is humble or modest. Now, do you think I look down on anybody here? Have I ever told anybody here how stupid they were? Or how much smarter I was than they are? Have you ever caught me exaggerating my worth? Or my value? Or my intelligence? Am I unpleasant? You see, arrogance is a negative word. I am overconfident. There's a difference. You understand? I do have a personality flaw in that I am assertive in what I know. That is also what they call a teacher in the other parts of the world, if used in that context, which is what this channel is. Now, arrogant? I'm not arrogant. Cocky? Maybe. Confident? Yes. So, get your synonyms right. Arrogant. And narcissistic. Narcissus was a person who loved his wife, and then she died. And so he planted a little flower at the edge of a well in town, and the flower grew, and it reminded him of his wife. So he went there every day to watch the flower. And then one day, the flower died. And in his grief, he hung his head and looked down and noticed his reflection in the pool. And he fell in love with himself. And he stayed there for the rest of his life, gazing into his own eyes until he died. Thus, narcissism. I'm not that. I'm not in love with myself. I don't think overly highly of myself. I don't puff up what I am. I answer questions. If you think that's a problem, maybe you're the know-it-all. Maybe you should do a Venn diagram of the things that you know versus the things that you don't know and see how big the sliver in the middle is. That sliver is where I exist, in that little medium there. Now, I don't know everything, nor have I ever claimed to know everything. But the Venn diagram of things that I do know versus the things that I don't know is pretty big. But that's not because of anything that I've done. That's a blessing from God. And I'm trying to use that blessing from God in the best way that I know how, by being available to answer questions. That's what I'm here for. If you think that's narcissistic rather, you got some explaining to do. I hope that helps. But no, I'm none of those things. But thank you for pointing it out. Rich S says, Fab Daddy is doxing, ? Nah. He baited me with a catchy pickup line. Prove there is a God. Theists cut to the front of the line. How could I resist? Well, how did you do? That particular person, Matt Dillahunty, is who you're referring to. I didn't like him very much, and I did do a video destroying his argument. So if you want to see that, it's in the myriad of videos that I have out there. You'll find it somewhere. It's got his name in the title, so you can search for it that way. But how did you do when you went up against him, and did you use any of the things you learned here? If so, I'm interested to know how that went. It must have went well because you're talking to him on the phone. How did that happen? Amanda says, right, Aaron. And Amy Elizabeth says, please continue to watch the show. You might be surprised, Jean-Claude. I agree, and I invite you to do so. Amanda says, narcissistic, having an excessive or erotic interest in one's self and one's physical appearance. Does that sound like me? Fab Daddy says, it just seems like a dox. I am probably wrong. Well, a dox requires someone's address, age, or location, or name, if they don't want their name to be known. As Matt Dillahunty is a public figure, that's not the case. Good instinct, wrong target. But keep doing what you're doing, Fab Daddy. Amanda says he is very caring and loving. He also engages all his people, unlike others. We all have a say here. Right. Like a true narcissist would run his show. Fab Daddy says, sorry for the mod flex. No problem. That's why you have a wrench. And if that were a situation, you would have been right on top of it. It just turns out that you misunderstood, and that's okay. Aaron says, LOL, I was saying hi to Rich S. I call him Big Rich. Right on. Amy Elizabeth says, maybe Jean is being reflective of his own personality. Maybe. Seems like that happens occasionally, doesn't it? It's quite all right, though. Here we go. Sorry, my chat jumped. Amy says, it's called projection. It's me says, enough about me. What do you think about me? Right on. I'm probably guilty of that one, yes. I mean, I got to have something to talk about. And Debbie says, Wednesdays with Jake is where we come to learn stuff we never knew we needed to know. Periodic table. Right. There you go. Amy says, exactly, Debbie. And Fab Daddy says, true, Debbie. And Jean-Claude says, let another man praise you and not you your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips. I haven't praised myself at all, Jean-Claude. What are you talking about? You think I'm praising myself? You are imagining things that did not occur. Go back and watch the video. You'll never hear me praising. I'm not breaking my arm to pat myself on the back. I'm just talking and answering questions. Might be doing it a little forwardly. It might have a little bit of a harsh tone to my voice, but that's the way I talk. I can't help that. But I'm not praising myself. Aaron says, Amanda, you remember Bible Seeker? I do remember that guy. Amanda says, we are all telling you you are incorrect about him. So, Jean-Claude, you made an observation, and everyone in the room is saying that you got that one wrong. You think maybe you might have overstepped a little? You think maybe you might have not read the room correctly and spoke before you had a chance to analyze the situation? Is that possible? If so, I implore you to stick around. You might hear something you've never heard before. Amy Elizabeth says, it's in the chat. Read it, Van Dam. Amy says, note to self, push the buttons in the elevator and you'll get there faster. Amen, sister. Wise observation. Amanda says, oh, geez, Aaron, yes. I remember Bible Seeker. Amy says, just standing in the elevator reading the chat. Push the buttons, Amy. The top ain't gonna come to you. Aaron says, time to go back to the van. I hear you, buddy. That's him with a different name, says Aaron. You think so? Well, believe it or not, I once encountered a guy called The Preacher, and it was quite an interesting series of conversations that went with this guy. This guy was trying to teach people that you were incapable of sinning because Christ died for your sins and therefore you were covered. Therefore, anything you wanted to do was good. You could do it. And I told him how wrong he was. And that's not the only thing he got wrong. He got quite a few things wrong in the Bible, and he was teaching it to innocent people and had quite a little following. I battled with that guy for quite a while. And he came back in the form of several different names, but always with the same message. And I caught him every time he did it. That may be this kind of thing too. I don't know. I happened to notice a name recently that was another person that comes in here. And I didn't catch it at first. I caught it upon rereading. So that does happen. I can't imagine it. I couldn't keep up with two names. I do enough with the one I got. Amanda says, you think so? Aaron says, I know it. And Fab Daddy says, yes, Jake, you have told me that I was wrong. Yes, I have. But I wasn't wrong, was I? Amanda says, oh, okay, well, damn. A Christian who don't sin has a name like that. Dana. Negative is a positive word. Hey, Dana. How are you, sweetheart? Welcome to the show. Amy Elizabeth says, hi, Dana. And Debbie says, my dad used to sing the Mac Davis song, It's Hard to Be Humble. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Yes, I love that song. All the time, and it was funny. It is a funny song and very accurate sometimes. Aaron says, LOL, I pictured Amy reading the chat with the WTF look in the elevator. That's exactly what's going on there, Aaron. She's like standing in the elevator staring at her phone. Hadn't even pushed the buttons. Amanda says, hi, Dana, hun. Heart. And Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. Dana says, hi, Amanda. Heart. It's me, says, ha, 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 ha. I used to love myself now and then. Ha, 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 ha. Careful, you'll go blind doing that. It's me. Amy says, Venn diagram. Ha, ha. You like that? I stole that from AOC. Or, no, it was the other one, Kamala Harris. Dana says, hi, Amy Elizabeth. Aaron says, sounds like heartbreak. Amanda says, video 414 is the Matt one. Okay, so if anybody wants to watch my rendition of my interpretation of how Matt Dillahunty is interpreting the Bible, it's episode 414 if you want to watch that. Rich, check it out if you hadn't seen it. And how did your meeting with him go? Rich says, Matt Dillahunty has a YouTube called YouTube call-in show, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I went for it. I got lots of props from Matt and his co-host, as well as chat, which is never kind. Well, congratulations. Aaron says, Matt Dillahunty tanks? Yes. I've never heard of Matt Dillahunty, says Fab Daddy. He's one of those atheists, like Sam Harris. He's one of those types. He goes out and tries to destroy the credibility of the Bible and say how wrong it is and put forth the atheist idea. And he does like keynote speaker spots and auditoriums and things like that. And I ran across some of his videos, and I was amazed at how many things he got incorrect. So I did a video and broke it down, and there it is. I did get his permission before I did it, though, so there's that. Rich S. says, and also, by the way, I did a series, I think it's 22 videos, called Everything Wrong with Genesis, featuring The Friendly Atheist, which is another guy on YouTube that does a very poor rendition of Bible reading using a revised Bible, and he tells stories kind of like I do. Go check him out. He's got a good show, but don't watch him for learning stuff. Watch my Everything Wrong with Genesis, and you'll see what I mean. Rich says, but in the end, what is convincing to so many around the world is never enough for atheists that are based exclusively in proof and science. We will never win an argument in the end. Well, no. Amy says, careful, Jake, you'll pull a muscle with all that self-praising. Yes. I tried to contain myself, but I escaped. Rich, you are correct. You cannot win an argument with people that are believers on both sides. That's all right. You're not arguing to win the argument with the person who's an atheist. You're arguing to win the argument with people that are listening to the argument, which is kind of what we do here on the weekends. Kind of get a little wild and let heat raise up and, push a little, pull a little. The reason for that is it doesn't matter what I think or what you think. What matters is what the people that are listening think, and the better argument will cause them to start thinking, and the better argument will win in the end. We're not going to change our perspectives even if we disagree. Even if we agree, doesn't matter. I'm not going to change the way that I think, and whoever I'm arguing with ain't either. But whoever's listening might, and that's the reason we do this. It's a little bit of a chess game, but that's the reason this exists. Aaron says, Jake. Thank you, Aaron. Fab Daddy says, 2 and 5, Untethered Live family. I have a lovely evening. Or you have a lovely evening. Well, you have a lovely evening too, Fab Daddy, and thank you for being here. We love you. Amanda says, LOL, Amy, and good night, Fab Daddy. Aaron says, see you, Fab Daddy, my guy. Jean-Claude says, I see him with fresh lenses, not biased. First expression is usually down the point. You got used to his presentation, therefore, the fresh lens is a little foggy. This is normal phenomena. Understand? Yeah, I understand that you're coming up with anything you can think of to backpedal your way out of your situation. Every person in this room is highly intelligent. That's why they're here. Every one of them. They went through trial and error, and some of them didn't survive. Every person in this chat is probably one of the smartest people you'll ever meet. And to discredit their bias is ignorant on its face. you are a newcomer, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to become part of the family. Or you're welcome to diddy bop your ass on down the road which way you came, whichever way you'd like it. But to insult their intelligence because they like me shows that you're not willing to learn anything. The problem here is, Jean-Claude, you picked a fight you weren't prepared to fight. That's the problem. The problem is, as you let your ass write checks, your mouth write checks that your ass can't cash. And now that you see that nobody here is going to back you up, you're going to come up with any excuse you can to excuse the behavior. Fresh lenses usually means person who doesn't understand the situation they're in. Anyway. It's also a normal phenomenon for people to be drawn to other people for their worth and their value. That's normal also. And also, knowing that you don't have to agree with every word I say to appreciate what's being said. There are people in this chat who I have recently argued with. There are people in this chat who disagree vehemently with things that I say, but they agree with me more than they disagree with me. And they also know that that's not the marker of a friendship, whether you agree with somebody or not. You can be friends with somebody and disagree with them. Only a short-sighted, thin-minded person with very little credibility to themselves would judge a person solely on whether or not they said everything they agreed with. That's called an echo chamber, of which this place is not. You should probably think about that for a minute. And Amanda says, nice backpedaling. See? It's me says, funny drama tonight. But that's okay. Sleepy time. Have a restful night, y'all. Thank you, it's me. God bless you, sir. Come back and see us. Aaron says, you in the wrong bar. That's funny. Amy says, I can understand that first lens, but it was kind of rude. See the reaction you got? Right? Funny, they don't have a foggy lens when it comes to you. They're fresh lenses when they see what you're doing. So, what do you think about that? Amanda says, good night, it's me. And Amy says, next time, try hello. It works better. Good idea. Maybe, hi, my name is so-and-so. I like to talk about such and such. Maybe try that. You're welcome to come back. But if you think you're going to grandstand and dominate the conversation, you'd be incorrect on that one. There is a banhammer in here. And if you say the wrong thing too disrespectfully, you're liable to get it. Won't be because of me. I don't tell them to ban anybody, but they know when they've had enough. Amanda says, right, this is the old school biker bar. You're messing up. Aaron says, he should apologize. Well, he probably won't. He probably doesn't think he's in the wrong, which is usually the case when you're arguing with somebody. But I digress. It's all right. I can handle myself even if he don't agree with me, and I hope he comes back. I hope he finds something that he does agree with. I hope that we don't have to spend the whole time knowing the guy, me downing him. I hope we can get past that and talk about things that matter, that don't matter. You know what I mean. Amanda says, exactly, Amy. You get a lot further with honey than vinegar. Imagine that. Jean-Claude says, Amy Elizabeth, I am used to all kinds of reactions. It is expected and predictable. You know what they call that? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and getting the same result over and over and over and still wanting to do the same thing again. Maybe try something different. Maybe your approach is the problem. Maybe you're in a room full of people who are friendly and will be your friend, which is more valuable than anything you have currently. And you're pissing it away because you want to sound like the smartest guy in the room, but you're not. And you need to come into this room understanding that from the get-go. average person in this chat is smarter than you will ever be. They have world experience. They have lived experience. They have understanding of various things, not all in the same areas. Some of them have Republican standpoints. Some of them have Democratic standpoints. Some of them have atheistic standpoints. Some of them are devout Christians. Some of them are Catholic. Some of them are scientists. All of them are good, salt-of-the-earth people with very high IQs, and I would be honored to call any of them my friends, and you would be too if you had enough sense to know that. Amy says, seemed like a drama llama reaction, like you want confrontation, typical cyberpunk behavior in my opinion. Amanda says, well, John, maybe you should get to know someone before you jump to conclusions about someone. Sounds like a good thing. Aaron says, so you admit you're a troll, get your ass back under the bridge. And Amanda says, 100% Aaron, thumbs up. Amy Elizabeth says, it's pusillanimous. Pusillanimous? I remember the good old days when people said things to your face and faced the consequences. That says pusillanimous. I like it. Aaron says, facts, Amy. What?
I think it's supposed to be presumptuous.
It's pusillanimous. Amanda says, that part, Amy. Keyboard bandits. Yep, keyboard cowboys. That's all right. Takes all kinds to make the world go round, and he has a place also. He just has to find it. Aaron says, I gave my service for freedom, and this is what these trolls do with free speech. Well, if you gave your service, God bless you and thank you for your sacrifice. And we do have free speech. They just don't know any better. Remember, they went to schools and indoctrination camps. The only thing they learn these days is how to disagree with somebody. They don't learn how to think. They don't even know they're supposed to. They just want to be an activist because that's what they're taught. Aaron says, Rich says, right on, Aaron. Right on. And Amanda says, thank you, Aaron. And then Amy says, thank you, Aaron. And Jean says, I have never insulted anyone in your audience. You just lied shamelessly. Really? If only there was a way to prove that, such as a record of some sort where the things that people say are written down. Wish we had something like that. Oh, yeah. I don't lie, Jean-Claude. If you knew me for more than a minute, you'd know that. I might be wrong, but I'm not lying to you. You are looking for confrontation, and I will only play along for so long, and then I move on. Amy says, that shovel will be just a nub by the time Jean gets done digging that hole. That shovel will be just a nub. In other words, you're going to wear yourself out digging the hole you're in. You're not getting out of it. Amanda says, good night, Amy. Right, Amy. I can't see. Aaron says, sorry, Amanda, for getting heated, but Jake's my friend, and I fought to protect my country. Well, thank you, Aaron, and I'm your friend for sure, and you're mine also. But don't worry about people that pick on me. I can handle it. I can take it. Worry about people that pick on the ladies. When they start doing that, you kick them out of here. That's why you got that green name. I just realized you don't have a wrench. We'll fix that. By the power invested in me by YouTube and the greater state of North Carolina, I bestow upon you the awesome and grateful power of the wrench. Use it with wisdom and courage, my friend. I dub thee Sir Aaron. Go forth and ban. Amy says, exactly. I remember heated political discussions on many nights in this chat. Right. You can have an argument without being a pecker. And sometimes that happens. And also sometimes people, maybe they get drunk, or maybe they had a bad day, or maybe who knows why, but they go over the line and they say things they really don't mean, or they misinterpret things in a way that wasn't intended, and it gets the height of the argument and turns it into something it shouldn't be. And then they go away and think about it for a while, and then they come back and business as usual. It happens. That's a thing. That's a cautionary part of reading and interpreting chat and having a conversation with 50 people at one time and trying to keep track of all of it. So that does occur. That being said, that's not what this guy's doing. This guy's trying to pick a fight, trying to assert his dominance here, and he's failing miserably. So I can handle that. Don't worry about that. Aaron says, I think he should just go. Well, we want to invite people that have varying opinions to be part of this chat, and sometimes it takes a little argument to get to that point. A few of the people in here started out as trolls, and they stayed because they saw something that they liked. It takes a time sometimes, but we'll find out soon enough if he can take it. If he can't take a ribbon from me, he certainly can't take it from the world, which is what we're preparing all of us to do. You understand? I'm going to give you a hard time. That's my job. My job is to cause you to think. That's what I'm doing. And sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it will push you against something that you're comfortable with. Sometimes you will think I am just completely wrong. And you have every reason to, because all of academia says I'm wrong. But when you go and look, because you're bound and determined to show me how wrong I am, you'll discover that I'm in fact correct. And then you'll be like, whoa, there's another point that I need to consider. That's how this works. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. It's all right. We can take it. But we always want to give everybody a chance, even if they come off a little strong, because there might be a diamond in the rough there. There might be somebody worth saving. We just have to wait and see how it plays out. Amanda says, no need to apologize, Aaron. You're absolutely right. And Debbie says, I'm a fairly newcomer, and my fresh lenses were not as cloudy as yours. Oh, snap. Jean-Claude, you just talked to somebody who just joined us and can see clearer. How about that? Amanda says, that's right, Debbie. Thank you. And yes, thank you. Jean-Claude says, is this some kind of cult of people blinded by the cult of personality, or highly intelligent people as you claim? Highly intelligent people as I claimed. This is not a cult. I'm not trying to sleep with any of them. Well, I am trying to sleep with one of them, but anyway, not a cult. Aaron says, I don't think attacking man personally is a good idea. Well, he's going to find out that that's not a good idea. But you can only warn people so much. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. You can have all kinds of pearls, but you cannot cast them before swine. And thank you for calling me a cult of personality, by the way, Jean. I appreciate the compliment, but that's not what's happening here. Amy says, dig, 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 dig. Dig, 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 dig a tunnel. Dig, 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 dig a tunnel. Quick before the hyena comes. Dig, 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 dig a tunnel. Sorry. Amanda says, it's a room full of intelligent people who are like family and treat each other with respect, Jean-Claude Van. Is there any truth to what my friend says about you, Jean-Claude. Are you someone else in another? Are you a wolf in sheep's clothing? Is that what you're doing? Amy says, now you're getting very close to that line. And Debbie says, yes, Jean, we all drink the Kool-Aid. Ha ha. I invite you to bring your own Kool-Aid. I do have Kool-Aid that you must drink, but I invite you to bring your own. As long as you're drinking some Kool-Aid, I'm cool with it. Amy says, I like the purple Kool-Aid best. Aaron says, I like red. And Amy, like that grape. Grape drink. Uh-huh. Amy says, it's a big word. The definition is in the first 4 letters. Pusillanimous. Oh, I understood what you meant. Aaron says, gotcha. And Amanda says, oh, damn, Aaron. Welcome to the power of the wrench. Did he get it? I don't see it showing up yet. Oh, yeah. It's just not in this chat. Got it. It's in that one. You got it. Aaron says, wait, what? Yes, sir. You are now one of the Knights of the Round Table. Enjoy it. Amy says, looks good on you there, Aaron. You got a J badge and a wrench. Look how authoritative you look. Amanda says, you're a mod now, Aaron. Congratulations. Aaron says, oh. And Dana says, I'm leaving. It was good to meet some of you here. Goodbye. I wish you the best. Jake compared me with Jean-Claude, and I'm tired of condescending attitudes. I did not compare you with Jean-Claude, Dana. What are you talking about? The first time I brought you up is when you appeared in the chat. I did not compare you to Jean-Claude. You seem to be reading into things a lot lately. I'm not saying that. That didn't come out of my mouth. I apologize for you feeling that way, but I understand. I hope you come back. Rich S says, but what if Aaron wanted his name to be green? He's blue now. Do you like blue, Aaron? That's a good question, Rich. Amy says, no, he didn't, Dana. That's not how I heard it. I didn't say that. That wasn't part of that at all. Amanda says, what do you mean you're leaving, Dana? Are you coming back next time? Did I take that wrong? I don't think you did. I think that's what you meant. I hope she didn't mean that, but I think that's what you meant. Rich S says, Dana? Aaron says, I don't think I deserve a wrench. Of course you deserve a wrench. Linda Davis says, this can't be a cult. John, we all have our own ideas and beliefs. The people in the chat are defending a friend as a friend, not a cult leader. See? And hey, Linda, how are you? Amanda says, sure you do, Aaron. Of course you deserve it. You're loyal. You show up. That's all it requires. Amanda says, hi, Linda, hun. Amy Elizabeth says, please stay, Dana. And Aaron says, Dana, don't leave. And Amanda says, Dana, I hope you're not leaving for good. And Linda says, hi, Amanda. I've been here just quiet tonight. I hear you. Aaron says, hi, Linda. And Amy Elizabeth says, I texted my son to make sure he's on the way to get me. And we're sharing a vehicle until the truck gets fixed. I hope he's on his way. I hope he's on his way, too. I hope you don't have to wait long. Amy says, it's a long walk to 𝕉𝕬𝕝. And Aaron says, did it break again, Amy? I think she's still dealing with the first time. Amy says, we changed the starter, but it needs a fuel filter assembly. Oh, so it's an ongoing thing. It's continuing to break. I got you. Linda says, hi, Aaron. And Aaron says, hi, Linda Davis. And Aaron says, dang, Amy, I'm sorry. And Amy says, it runs and then it dies. It runs and then it dies, the fuel filter or assembly. I don't know anything about new cars. I can't give you any help with that one. Or the oxygen sensor, maybe. Could be that. Sounds like it's not idling. So it'll crank up, but it won't stay running. Is that what you're saying? Aaron says, well, change the filter first and see if it runs. And Amanda says, nope, would be the fuel, Amy. O2 wouldn't do that. Aaron says, I think it's your AGR sensor. Too much air can choke it out and shut it off. Air or fuel have to balance. Amy says, either way, I hope my son is coming to get me. I hope so, too. Aaron says, what's up with the grape Kool-Aid, Amy? That grape drink. And Davey says, Jake said academia, and Dana took that to mean her. She is not the only academic in the world, or here, for that matter. I don't know why she thinks that. She thought I was talking down to her Monday night, which I wasn't. But apparently she took it that way. And Amanda says, Amy, was the truck parked for a while before you started using it again? Amy says, after my husband died, it sat for about 18 months, and then we drove it. It's an old truck. It's 2006. That's probably the issue. It probably needs to be new filters all the way around and new spark plugs and all kinds of stuff. Amanda says, yep, when a vehicle sits for a while, it can have all kinds of problems like that. All right, I made it to the bottom of the chat, and I got to go to bed because I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that we can get past this little hiccup that's going on. Dana, if you're still here listening, I love you. I'm sorry you took it that way. I did not intend it that way. Maybe you should go back and watch it again. See what I actually said. I don't know what to tell you. If you're just bound and determined to go, though, it was great while you were here, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm sorry to see you go. But, you know, it's a tough world we live in. We got to have a clear path in the direction we're going in, and that's all of us. We're a team here. So we all have to push and pull till we find our way forward. Can't go on one person or another person, not even me. So I hope that helps. I don't know what to tell you. God bless you. You've been a wonderful friend to this channel thus far. You've been an amazing support, and I hate to see you go. But if you must go, I understand. I wish you the best. Enjoy, and God bless you and your granddad. Amy says, maybe I should trade it in for something. If you can get it going, I'd go trade it in for a newer thing. Aaron says, yep, rust in the line or in the water sounds like a bad gas. Try seafoam. Yeah, you might have bad gas in it. That might be all it is. You might need to work that gas out of the system or drain the gas tank and put some new gas in it. Amanda says, good night all. See you Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here for another chill stream. Much love, y'all. And Linda Davis says, Dana, we love you. Please don't let a little argument cause you to think you are not appreciated. Right. Thank you, Linda. Amy says, see y'all next time. And Aaron says, thank you, guys. Aaron, God bless you, sir. Enjoy the wrench. It looks good on you. Aaron says, seafoam removes the water. And Amanda says, change the fuel filter. And Debbie says, good night, all. Debbie, God bless you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. God bless all of you. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.